gentlemen, we're still at the show. Show's winding down for us. We've already done a lot of things. We're here at CT Pro Percussion with Matt. How you doing, Matt?
Good, and yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Every time I come to this show, I have a blast.
It's a great show.
It's the whole reason I'm alive. Guys, let me tell you, here's why I chose to stop at Matt's booth this year. Matt is one of the few people now that are coming up with calf skid heads. We know that those kind of disappeared for a while. They've always been hard to get. They've been pretty expensive. But Matt is coming up with fresh tucked, new, not brittle, not dried out, used heads, but newly tucked calf skid heads. How'd you get into this, Matt?
Well, back in Connecticut, I do a lot of business with, I'm actively involved in the fifing and drumming community, and they use a lot of calf skin. And so I started out doing basically a lot of 16 and 17 and 24 and 26 inch heads, because those are the most common size drums in that arena. And I started watching a lot of guys at the vintage drum shows that are going around buying vintage calfskin heads that are, they're 60, 70 years old, they're dry, they're paper. Guys are like, hey, I got calfskin. I'm like, you got paper. So I thought, all right, there's a market for that. And last year at the Connecticut show in 2012 was the first time I started bringing a lot of standard drum set sizes, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And by 3:30 in the afternoon, I had sold out of every piece of calf that I had brought with me.
I knew there was a market
and it was a great day. Since then, we've expanded. I started out originally just with natural calfskin heads. I've started carrying a lot more, specifically in the white, because in the fifing and drumming community, I can't sell them a natural skin head to save my life.
Let's get a shot of this. When he says natural skin, look what we've got here. Explain what's going on here. Why were they translucent in certain areas?
These are natural. They're untanned, so you'll be able to see right through them. Yeah, they're exactly that, translucent. Now, when you play them, the sticks will eventually mark them like that. These heads that we have over here, you have the calf skin is actually imported, and these are chalked and tanned to get this nice white, even coloring to them.
Now, I like the look of these. You want to hear them a little bit? I'll tell you, they feel thick. They feel thick.
The white heads were being done. I have 3 thicknesses. I have 6 mil for batter heads, 9 mil for bass drum heads, and I'm getting them shaved down to 3 millimeter for snare side and resonant heads. And one of the things that we've started doing this year, we've got the tricks on bass drum heads, which we're offering in
very hard to get, guys.
In both sizes, both the 26 by 20s, which you see here, and the 27.5 21s. And we're also doing replacement hoops in a natural maple that are unfinished, so you can stain them or paint them, finish them to match your kit any way you want. And our other new offering for this year, going back to the vein of the 20s and 30s.
I saw something about them. That's a very good idea.
These are oil on calfskin. We've got our first landscape
Who's
scene.
doing these for you?
Actually, my mother's the artist. She went to our school.
Terrific.
My mother, Ellen. And we've got one more on the back side of here. Our B25 Mitchell. I keep in stock 8 to 28 inch heads. I can do up to 54 inch. And I also can do heads in fish skin, goat skin. I do a lot of djembes back home. And the supplier I get my skin from has also recently informed me that I can also get buffalo and camel. So
this is a 28-inch head.
This is a 28-inch.
And what would this cost?
This is $145.
I think that's very reasonable, folks. $145 for a 28-inch head. This is a very common size in, say, the era that I collect. 20s, early 30s. You get those 28 by 14-inch bass drum heads that you can't find heads for. This is a great idea.
For a small additional fee on the bass drum heads, I've also created stencils so I can do vintage drum logos, the old Ludwig strip badge, strip logos, the old Slingerland Radio King logos, Gretsch logos.
Fantastic.
So I can paint them on there. The Tricks on logos are all hand painted on the drums as well.
People have been waiting for you, Matt. Now, before we go, we want to take a look at a very famous set. Was here last year, and I just had to draw attention to it once again. You call this the cigar band set, huh?
Cigar band kit.
Let's take a look at this, Fitz. You just thought I'm sure you've told the story 1,000 times, but what? Did you make this, or how did this come about?
These are vintage Schlingerland shells, late 60s, early 70s. Shells that have been laying around my shop with no hardware. They had, after a year, the shells had maybe 4 views on my website. I had no idea what to do with them, and my wife finally looked at me one night and said, "Duh, you've been saving the cigar bands for 12 years for this. She says, what are you waiting for?" 3.5 months later, this is what I emerged with. There's about 3,000 bands on here, about 165 hours of labor. I use a marine clear coat, about 9 layers of it, wet sanding, to make sure that moisture never ever gets to these things.
Yeah. Now, it's funny, something like that, you just thought, oh, it's something to do with these old orphan shells. And here, this is now becoming a notable set in the vintage drum community. This is a well-known set. It's a very nice effort, and it came out beautiful.
It's been in Drum, Modern Drummer, and Drum Head, so...
I've seen it. It's no stranger to the vintage drum community. Matt at CT Pro Percussion. I highly recommend him. Check him out, guys, for your calfskin needs.
Thank you very much.